You don't need a lot of ink colors to make a fantastic greeting card. Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. Today's card project features one color of ink. Well, there is some black ink, but just one main color of ink, and it's purple. To make a really fun greeting card featuring a new set that I designed. So stick around to see how simplifying your colors can turn out beautifully. That card project is coming up next. Here's a look at the card project I'll be creating in today's video. I love how simple this is with just a single color of ink for the stamping and the ink blending, a little bit of shine with some gold embossing, and a simple sentiment strip. Let's take a look at the products I'm using today. This is a new stamp set I designed called Beachy Keen, and it's all kind of chill, beachy, happy, sunshiny sentiments along with some stamps that are meant for some two-step stamping and some greetings. I have coordinating dies and I've pulled just a few inks. Today I'm going to use the new Simon Says stamp Pawsitively Saturated Ink in Lilac. So let's get stamping. I'm stamping down the polka dot layer of the hat first onto some Neenah Solar White Classic Crest in the 110 pound. Just going to rub my finger over the stamp to prime it. This is the first time I'm using both the stamp and the color Lilac. We now have purples in the Pawsitively Saturated collection, so I'm super excited about this color. I'm going to stamp that down using my Misty tool and my press tool, my Debbie tool. Reposition the cardstock and ink it up a second time just to get that great perfect stamped impression for layer 1. For the outline, I'm going to get it perfectly lined up and stamp it with black ink. You can do this as an offset style as well, and I love that look, but for this I want to die cut the hat, so I'm going to have it perfectly lined up because the die is designed to cut out the hat with the little bow on the right. I actually did a really good job getting that lined up, so it's not hard to line it up. Stamp it down, and you have a beautiful two-color little image, just like that. While the Misty's out, I'm going to also stamp the greeting for the card on the same cardstock. So reposition the cardstock, prep the stamp a little, because again, it's the first time I've stamped with it. I'll put a little anti-static powder all over the cardstock as well as on the hat, just in case any powder grabbed up there. And I'll take my Versamark ink up the stamp really well, bring it down, and transfer the ink. Give it a second to really adhere to the cardstock. And I think I'll go ahead and stamp it a second time because I really want to get just a great coverage of this greeting on the paper. Next, I'm going to add my embossing powder. I'm going to use the ultra fine antique gold from Simon Says stamp. I love the warmth of this powder when it's melted. Sprinkle that on and tap it off. And hit it one more time. Just let it sit for a second and let it slide off. And this looks great. There's no extra powder anywhere thanks to the anti-static powder. And I'll just quickly funnel it right back in. This is the way I do embossing all the time. I could have a little container, but I have a piece of folded paper, so, I'm good to go. We'll melt the powder with the heat tool, working my way across, and have a nice, cozy, warm, shiny greeting. Just like that. Looks great. I've got the coordinating dies in place, and I'll go ahead and cut those out. They're very easy to line up. These have a nice generous die space. And then I have my two key elements for the card cut out and ready to go. Really love that hat. Isn't that sweet? Okay, moving on. I thought it would be nice to add a little grounding to this with some stenciled on dots, sort of like taking the pattern of the polka dots from the hat and repeating it. So I trimmed a little panel of cardstock down to 3.5 by 5, or 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to take the same lilac ink and blend that in. I'm going to tap a little off just so it doesn't come in too heavy. And with a very light hand, it'll be a little darker in the center dots and then I'm going to lightly fade out the color through the stencil. The idea here is just to create a collection of random oversized polka dots, even though this is called a confetti stencil, but I think the idea is really simple and it will reinforce the design and also give a nice little grounding area to place my elements. So I just shifted the stencil a tiny bit and repeat. Anytime you're stumped for color, just stick with one. I'm telling you, one color and then a little shiny gold or silver embossing on a greeting. That is a great formula for color harmony on any card project. So we'll have that and the hat. And isn't that just the nicest little touch? I love it. For my card base, this is some Simon Says Stamp Lavendar cardstock, and I'm going to score this right at 5.5. This is an 11" by 4 1/4 piece. This will be a top folding portrait oriented card, a US A2, which is 4 1/4 wide by 5.5 tall. I've got foam tape on the back of my blended panel, and I'll just pop that down with a nice framing margin of that lavender cardstock all the way around. Now here I'm going to take some foam tape and double up on the hat. I already put some foam squares on the Sending a Little Bit of Sunshine greeting, but I want the hat to float just a little bit. So don't be afraid to add different layers of foam tape or foam squares just to get that little bit of clearance that you need. And then off camera, I'm going to stamp You Deserve It. I went ahead and did that on black cardstock with a little bit of white embossing powder. And here I'm just wiping off all of that anti-static powder. And then I'll cut this down using one of my Simon Says Stamp sentiment label dies, one of my favorite die sets. And then I'll trim very quickly from side to side with my little paper trimmer, flip it, line up the letter right there, and cut. And this way I get a nicely trimmed sub-greeting. And that is the design of the card. I went ahead and glued it all down. I have no idea why I wasn't filming when I did it, but trust me, I did not have a stunt double come in to do this. But I will add sequins, 5 of them, little boop, just for a little bit of shine, boop, and also a continuation of the circular dot pattern. Boop, just like that. I had a little extra glue there. I don't know what was happening, so I take the other side of this tool sometimes if I get too much glue, just kind of scrape it away and wipe it off. And that's the finished card project. I really love this simple design. Of course, it's all center weighted, everything's connected in the center, one color of ink, a little circular pattern repeating in a few different areas, and you have a gorgeous finished card. You can find links for all the supplies in today's card project listed below in the YouTube description box. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you back here with another card project soon. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.